Hey, welcome to episode number 2 of Talkin' Ball with Bekks from Gap to Gap and Coast to Coast, live on Sundays on YouTube. First things first, I need your help, friends. Please hit pause and hit the subscribe button right now. Help make this dream to help Canadian ball players come true. Everything we're doing is free. It's free. So if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel now. Help me help kids at Next from the North. We are blessed to have some incredible sponsors, which help make this show possible each and every week. Our friends at straightbet.net, the ultimate in online gaming, available to you again at straightbet.net. Toall Rentals is your expert in the area of heavy-duty equipment rentals in the YYC. My good buddy Scotty will take good care of you if you mention Bekks sent you and you got that weekend project that you need all the equipment to make it possible. Have you been on Becksy.com yet? At the bottom of the page, my friend Matt Helke has created something very, very special. The Baseball Observer has taken years and years to create, and we are proudly partnered with the Baseball Observer. You click on Find Your School Now, and every single school in America is at your fingertips. Links to the coaches, updated rankings. It is truly incredible, and we are blessed to have the Baseball Observer as a proud partner of Becksy.com. Of course, we're in support of Next from the North. That is our free recruiting website where we get kids noticed in America. It's as simple as clicking on the link Next from the North. Get noticed now. You fill out the profile and bam, you're on the site and you are in front of our incredible network of coaches. We're always launching Area Scouts Canada. Privileged to be involved with this unbelievable platform. It's all about taking care of kids, making them better athletes, and preventing injuries through their unreal platform. That's Area Scouts Canada. And of course, our last partner, but not least, Chris Hunt Online, our recruiting expert from upstate New York. And he is teaching you everything you need to know about the recruiting process for all sports at the NCAA, JUCO, and NAIA levels. So let's get at it. So many things to talk about this week. The story of the week so far, in my mind, it's not ball related, but it's college sports related. And if you haven't seen it, I'm going to show it to you right now. It is no laughing matter, my friends. A little chuckle from me, but good Lord. A viral story has come out as part of the NCAA March Madness extravaganza. It was brought by Oregon Duck Sedona Prince, posting the disgusting, and I repeat, disgusting inequality of the March Madness training facilities from the men's in Indy to the women's in San Antonio. It's sad. It is absolutely appalling because not only is the inequality there, but guess what? Multiple people would have had to look at the San Antonio facility and this one dismal rack of dumbbells and okay it and say, yeah, that's good. That's where it needs to be for this pinnacle of these a college athlete's career. They walk into this place and this is what they see. Multiple jobs need to be lost at this level. Multiple investigations need to happen to figure out how this possibly came to be. It's sad, it's ridiculous, and I'm going to be done with this rant, but at some point we need to have some better judgment used by this massive organization that is the NCAA. To do this to the girls that have qualified for this is it's beyond belief, and I'm done with it. But man, let's go NCAA, figure it out. All right, rant over. We have reached my favorite month of the year for numerous reasons. Number one, the weather gets nicer, the days get longer, and ballparks all over North America are free of snow and filling with boys and girls playing the two games that we love. Yeah, that's right. Smack of leather, bat on ball. The cheering, the yelling, the cat calls to the umpires—they're all coming out, and nothing could make me happier. It's spring. It's time. Let's get out. COVID's killed us all. It's literally made it difficult for us to do the things that we enjoy. And this spring, we're hoping there's light at the end of the tunnel, and we're moving forward with the 2 games that we play outdoors on the diamond. And we're going to have a blast this summer, people. I feel it. Just got my roster for the Outlaws organization here in southern Alberta. A great group of young guys that are ready to play some ball. The excitement in their faces as we hit the cages the other night was just palpable. It was awesome to see, and we are ready to go. Foothills Outlaws minor baseball is ready to rock this season. Thankfully, college softball and baseball are back in action with the 2021 seasons well underway. The softball rankings pretty much unchanged from the preseason, with UCLA dominant and unanimous at the top of the rankings. If actually the Pac-12 is hugely represented in the top 10 with Arizona, Washington, the alma mater of our feature guest of the week, the Oregon Ducks. They slide in at the 8-hole, and they have 4 teams in the top 10, which is pretty awesome considering lately it seems in college sports that the East and the South and those areas dominate the rankings. On the baseball side, the top spot occupied by Arkansas, unchanged with only 1 loss on the season. The SEC domination continues as the Vandy boys from Vanderbilt, on the heels of yesterday's incredible pitching performance by Jack Leiter. It was a 16K no-hitter. They slide in at the number 2. Both Mississippi schools, that is Ole Miss and Mississippi State, at 3 and 4. And rounding out the top 5 is preseason number 1 Florida. So, hey, rest of the country, let's go. The Southeastern Conference, as always, dominating the rankings in D1 baseball. On the pro side of things, the grapefruit and cactus leagues are well underway. And could we be more excited about the 2021 Toronto Blue Jays? I'll tell you what, it is becoming more and more like 15 and 16 all over again. It's so exciting to see the progression of the young guys and the revitalization of some of the veterans that they've brought into this group. So right off the top, the most pleasant surprise to me is the staff. Absolutely unreal how well these guys have thrown right now. I know it's spring. I know they're not facing the best of the lineups, but man, the guys are touching high numbers on the velo, locating, throwing a ton of strikes. Right again off the top, the most important piece to that is Robbie Ray. This guy, to me, is the X factor on this team this year, because if he's Robbie Ray of old, compared to Robbie Ray that struggled mightily the beginning of last year in Arizona, could not hit the zone, was walking nearly a guy an inning, and then came over and hooked up with Pete Walker and found something, and is continuing to throw strikes and is hitting nearly 98 on the radar gun. So, man, if Robbie Ray is good, then this team is good. Steven Matz, another one. What a steal this could turn out to be. As Shapiro and Atkins found him, his ERA was near 9 last year, throwing for the Mets periodically in the starting role and also in the bullpen, but he was awful, for lack of a better term. And as of yesterday, again, has barely been touched. So Steven Matz slides into that starting rotation with Pearson on the mend. He'll be back soon, but clearly not there for opening day. So Steven Matz becomes a very important piece. And if he continues to throw the way he has thrown in the preseason, good Lord, is this team starting to look very, very good. And how good have the young guys been? Just remarkable in my mind that these 2 guys at the top of that list Alex Manoah, Simeon Woods Richardson, way ahead of schedule as far as their progression towards the major leagues. They've been sent to minor league camp, but the other day against a pretty loaded Yankees lineup, Manoah just goes 3 scoreless with 7 Ks. It was something. He was dotting high 90s on the radar gun. The slider is incredible. And followed up by Simeon Woods Richardson. He goes 3 scoreless, and he has been virtually unhittable this spring. TJ Zoik has an ERA under 2 for the spring so far, and these young guys have looked every bit the part of major league pitchers in the very near future. So is it this year? Maybe not. Maybe late. Come September, we'll see. But the future is incredibly bright for this group of young core, joining Nate Pearson, and we still have Hingen for another couple years as well. Not to say they won't make a move at the deadline, but if they don't, it's okay, because guess what? Next year and the year after, while our young core of hitters continue to get better, locked in with an unbelievable future pitching staff. Their ascent to the show is assured, and man, the excitement is palpable once again about this group going forward. For me, the the surprise that caught most of us off guard is the veteran arms that were brought in. For lack of other descriptions, they were mediocre guys. The David Phelps, the Francisco Liriano, Tyler Chatwood coming off injury. Tanner Roark, as we're well aware of, last year was at best mediocre. Each of them has shown something this spring that has elevated the excitement once again. David Phelps has been virtually unhittable. The man is he's possessed right now, mowing down guys left, right, and center. Liriano's look good. Tim Meza, coming back from TJ, has looked excellent as well. Again, we talked about Matz and Ray, veteran guys that have joined this group, and finally Kirby Yates is throwing, Jordan Romano is throwing. Have seen very little of Julian Merriweather, but you know he's there. Rafael Dolis, the bullpen. Oh man, this is a good-looking group, and maybe a strength of the team that was maybe not thought that way going into spring training. So again, we know it's spring. I know that it's not live, so to speak, but the stats, the elevated velos, the strike counts have been truly excellent so far. And man, Pete Walker is becoming really one of the gurus of pitching in the major league. So he's finding a way to bring guys that have struggled with other teams, tweaking little things here and there and turning them into what many of them were thought to be all along, but clearly struggled with in other organizations. So good for the Jays, good for the season coming up. If all of them find a way, the depth is outstanding. And with the injuries to Pearson and recently Thomas Hatch, definitely needed going forward. Haven't talked about Anthony Kay, has looked good. Trent Thornton just threw for the first time the other day and also looked fabulous. There hasn't been a guy that's thrown it poorly. That is for absolute sure. And as of yesterday, the Jays team ERA is nearly 1 run below anybody else in the major leagues. So spring or not, that's an outstanding stat, and gets our blood pumping to get this thing underway, albeit from Dunedin, Florida. Interesting comment by Clint Frazier of the New York Yankees, talking about how the ballpark, TD Bank Park in Dunedin, provided all kinds of challenges for the poor New York Yankees. So let the complaining begin for the Yanks as they struggle to play at a minor league ballpark or a spring training facility. In my mind, it's a lot better than Buffalo, simply because of the weather and the training facility that accompanies the facility. So it's great that they're there. Of course, our nation would love to have them at home at the Raj. And maybe if we get some more people vaccinated and Ontario getting a little further along in the fight against COVID. We'll be able to watch some live Blue Jays baseball in TO later this summer. So surprises on the offensive side. It's been really cool to see the evolution of Jonathan Davis, because if they are going to make a move at the deadline this year, it's going to involve an outfielder, and more than likely it's Lourdes Gurriel. He provides the most in return, simply because of his age, his ability to handle the bat, and as of last year, a finalist for a Gold Glove, so he's adapted to the outfield very well. We've got Randall Grichuk, and if Jonathan Davis continues his progression up the charts, then suddenly there is an expendable outfielder potentially to grab that big starting pitching piece at the deadline if the team is on the verge of playoff success again. I believe they will be. I also believe in the potential to bring up some of these young names that were just discussed. But if they feel as though it's still premature and they're not going to make that move as far as plugging one of the young guys into a high leverage situation, then the outfield becomes a little bit more expendable with the evolution of Jonathan Davis. He's hit the ball well. He fields it always outstanding. Late inning speed guy as a pinch running option certainly offers up some cool potential for Montoyo, certainly in September when that becomes a bigger piece of the puzzle. Late inning defensive and base running specialist, and if he handles the bat anything like he's handled it so far this spring, then again, the option to make a move for a pitcher at the deadline becomes real, and that means this team is poised to make a deep run into October later this year. And man, it would be nice if the stadiums are full again at that point, although we are looking at a full stadium on opening day in Texas, so take that as you will. Not sure how people feel about that, but it's happening. Texas believes, and the Rangers are going to pack it, and hey, good thing we're in that game, because it'll be fun to watch a full stadium of baseball again. What is not surprising, and I hope everybody agrees with this, is Vladimir Guerrero Jr. People, it is just 2 years ago that he was the number one prospect in all of baseball by Baseball Prospectus. Number one, ahead of Fernando Tatis Jr., Ronald Acuna, Juan Soto, any number of guys that are currently ranked ahead of him, he was ranked ahead of. And generally, the entire organization of scouts and administrators and those who watch Baseball Prospectus and put these rankings out don't get it drastically wrong. What does that mean? This guy is elite. He has always been elite. What happened last year? COVID happened. The thought that there may not be baseball at all happened. And guess what? He's a young kid. He took the year off, for lack of a better term. He got a little overweight, got complacent in his training, and as a result, his stats suffered. And everybody jumped on the hate Vladdy band. Trade Vladdy. Never going to be what he was meant to be. All of the above. Guess what? He figured it out. He's 22 years old. For goodness sakes, you got to cut him a little slack. Now he lost the weight. And what's he done this spring? He's hitting 600 so far. Looking every bit the part of a number one prospect once again. So, in your fantasy leagues, don't forget about Vladdy. Guess what? This is not a fluke. This is not some anomaly. This is him simply playing out the scenario that was put in front of him as a youngster growing up through the minor leagues. He is an exceptional talent, and be excited, Blue Jay Nation, that he is back. He is his body looks great. He's crushing baseballs again, and Kevin Biggio will continue to be exactly what he has been and evolve as a tremendous big league ball player. His baseball IQ alone makes that imminent. He sees pitches better than anybody, almost at any level right now. And his versatility to play almost any position on the ball field is unbelievable. And Cavan will continue to be an outstanding piece. Another incredible surprise is the word recently that Charlie has decided that Alejandro Kirk and Robbie Ray are a tremendous battery combination. He has in the past shown hesitance at matching pitchers with catchers, but it appears that's changing because he loves Jansen and Ryu together, and he loves Kirk and Ray together. And that means it appears that Alejandro Kirk is going to break camp with the ball club. Couldn't be more excited about that. Young guy that has every bit of upside and the bat that speaks volumes. This kid hits bombs. And to have that in the catcher position and to have a relationship that's growing with our number 2 starter is exciting. And it moves Reese McGuire to the minor leagues, which for my mind is a fantastic move. He's never provided anything to me that looks like a huge upside of any kind. Reese McGuire is vanilla, and I think he drops below Moreno in my mind if he doesn't break camp with the team. And it looks as though Alejandro Kirk and his unbelievable spring is going to lead him to a position on this opening day roster. So that's fun. It's exciting. He, too, found a way to get his body in better shape in the offseason, and the results are excellent with Alejandro Kirk. So there you have it. Toronto Blue Jays 2021, ready to break camp, have had an incredible spring, and let's get on board, Blue Jay Nation. Let's watch this team with fun and excitement and see where it goes. You know, the expectations to me are growing, and that becomes difficult for a young group, but there's some nice veteran pieces to keep these guys in check now with Springer, Simeon, Robbie Ray, Hyunjin Ryu, and such. So let's go. It's time. 2021 baseball on the horizon. And we'll take a short break and be right back with our first guest of the day, our fantastic future star of the week, Gavin Galenza, right after this. Do you love to play the sports line tickets, the over-under point spread? But do you hate the fact that you have to get 4 to 6 right out of 4 to 6? It drives me crazy because oftentimes you get 3 out of 4, you get nothing. I'll tell you what you're going to do. Log on to straightbet.net and check out the 8-cent lines provided by this incredible platform. You can bet on 1 game, 2 games, you can parlay, you can do it all just like Vegas. You're going to talk to Haven. That's right. Send her a message to Haven at straightbet.net. Tell her Bexy sent you, and guess what? She's going to give you some money to play for free. It's as simple as that, people. Haven at straightbet.net, and tell her Bexy sent you, and go win yourself some money. You're talking ball with Bekks, and from gap to gap and coast to coast. This is my favorite part of the show. It's because it's what we do. We shine the spotlight on our future stars of Next from the North. Our featured guest today is a 3-time Alberta Player of the Year. He has been a dominant force in the province since his first year of travel ball. A former Nationals home run derby champion, he's a stud catcher, a pitcher, and even dabbles in the outfield. With great pleasure, I welcome Gavin Galenza. Hello, Gaver. Welcome to the show. What is going on, my friend?
Oh, not too much. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's great to have you. It's episode number 2. We had a good friend of yours, Jose Nunez, as episode 1's featured guest. So this is exciting for me, and I look forward to a great chat. So let's get at her. How about it?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, sounds good. Been a crazy year, obviously, in the world of everything, for that matter, not just in baseball. But talk to me about how COVID's impacted your sophomore season, which is big as you make your way towards college baseball, and kind of what you've been up to over the last year.
Yeah, big changes. I mean, obviously having no season last year was a big part of It was unfortunate, but I mean, this another challenge in my path towards my future career. I mean, obviously, you gotta put the work in by yourself and gotta train hard. I mean, it just makes you push yourself and show you how much you want it, because it's gonna separate the players who want it,
Players who don't want to be there, and you just got to show it. And I mean, obviously, not having your season, you're not.
to train like you usually would, but the hours that you put in by yourself is what really shows. And I think that's what's helped me the most over this past year.
You mentioned figuring out things on your own, Gav, and doing sort of your own drills in the comfort of your own home. What sort of things did you work on during the last year?
Yeah, obviously with defensive stuff, I'd use tennis ball, throw it off the wall, kind of use do my own thing off the wall, or use a friend, use family.
Whatever I could do, and hitting just more tee work than I've ever imagined I could do. And
Off toss, tee work, just repetition, just getting that mindset stuck in my head that I just keep working and I'll work out.
So obviously, some of the things you got better at with just having to create your own drills and do your own work at home. What do you feel like you fell off on? What sort of skill set might have dropped a little bit over this last year?
for me, just I mean, I think it's
It's little things like the maybe not training as much, like this the speed, like that part of my game I think might have taken the biggest hit, like maybe not training as much as gyms closed down and all that kind of a thing. But I mean, and I feel like just the repetition of defense. I mean, sometimes like not having that live pitcher thrown to you as a catcher, sometimes something doesn't feel the same. And I mean, just that, I feel like that was my biggest hit last year. But I mean, this through this year and through this like through the fall and through winter, I feel like just regaining that a bit.
to feel comfortable framing, receiving, blocking, everything like that again, catching. I think that was my biggest hit.
Yeah, how about the school, Gav? It's been tough on all kids trying to learn online, trying to go through that process and change, losing the social dynamic of going to high school and your friends and everything. Talk about sort of how school, how'd you manage?
Yeah, of course, going online was not easy. No one knew what to expect going in, and I mean, it was tough. But once you got used to it, I mean, you dial in and you just got to put in the work and try your best. It's not easy, like I said, but you have to stay
And you can't give up, and you just not having your social life at school. It's not the same. But I mean, once we
to school. I mean, it felt amazing just seeing all your friends again and just the in-person interactions with teachers and all that kind of thing. It really helped. But I mean, online, you still got to put in your work.
Yeah, no matter what you're doing, right? The work is always at the top of the charts for sure. I'd like to go back and sort of find out when it all started for most of our studs of the future. And for you, I know it took place up in Camrose, Alberta. One of the things I remember as seeing that group as a young team is it was very tight. It was just a great group of kids that seemed to get along real good, fought hard for each other. Talk about Camrose and sort of the amazing group of kids that you grew up playing ball with.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely started from a young age. First years of hockey, first 5 years of baseball, just tight group. You knew you were playing with, and I mean, just growing those friendships over the years. I mean, we had, like you said, tight groups, and I mean, I think that was built through just growing up, playing multiple sports together, and always just going to school and having your same group of friends just all throughout sports definitely helped. Like make
comfortable with what you're doing throughout the school year, and then getting back into sports again, it just you felt comfortable, and I feel like that.
it so competitive. We built off each other, and it just felt amazing. Just every year getting to know the same guys and not having to worry about learning new things and just getting used to a new team. Because we were a tight group and something I loved about that place.
It was a really good group of coaches up there too. I remember Ryan very well, and I know your dad was part of that group. And I think that the leading from the top always makes such a huge difference, and that was a really, really good group of coaches up there as well.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Coach Poppy, great coach. Had him through since I was a young one. I mean, through hockey and baseball, great coach. Loved having him as my coach. I mean, things he taught me, and like you said, my dad, like big part of my development through the years, especially as a catcher, and just the little things he'd help me do, and always be on me about trying hard and working.
Yeah, one of the things about Camrose, certainly you guys enjoyed good success, but never reaching that pinnacle of the provincial titles. But it seemed like each and every year, whoever did win provincials was happy to pick up Gavin Galenza to go to nationals. Talk about the impact of the respect that you felt each and every year you'd get that call, and what it was like to know that you were wanted by every team in this province to go to nationals.
Yeah, I mean, it's always a great honor to be picked up, and it just showed that my hard work paid off, and that it made me feel great. Just getting that call to go up and go compete at the highest stage at that possible age, and I mean, it was always a great experience going to Quebec. That 13U Nationals, that was a great experience. Like facing great arms and facing good hitters. I mean, I couldn't have asked for a better experience to go, and I loved being asked to go, and it was a great experience, and I'll always remember that.
Yeah, it seemed to me it was very easy for you to fit in. And as a 13-year-old, traveling across the country with a group of kids you don't know, getting thrust into the spotlight, certainly in the home run derby, they throw you out there, the first guy out. And talk about what it's like trying to fit in such a short period of time as a 13-year-old with a pretty successful ball team.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing that brought us all together the most is our love for the game of baseball. I mean, it was really great. I feel like that's definitely where it made me most comfortable. Like just going out there, play the game we all love, and like great group of guys that they had down there. Like they're all welcoming, and they brought me in with open arms, and could have asked for a better team to go with, I guess.
Do you still keep in touch with some of the guys from that group?
Oh yeah, for sure. Just always asking how's it going, how's the ball going, and how their lives are going. It's always great to keep in contact with those people.
For sure. I know hockey was a big part of your early sports life. Gab, you were a two-sport guy, and it was baseball summer and hockey winter. When do you remember that decision when it came, and how you came to that decision about saying, you know what, I'm going to hang up the skates and put all my effort into baseball?
Yeah, so I think it came around when I was 14, after my first year banned of hockey. I decided to hang up the skates and pursue baseball, and just wanted to train more in baseball, and that's where I want to go in my life. And I mean, obviously tough decision. I mean, you don't like leaving a sport like that, but still have a good spot in that sport, in my heart for that sport, and love playing baseball. So that's where I wanted to go. So I just devoted my winters to training and getting better each and every year.
I was going to ask, do you miss the hockey a little bit?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, just the competitiveness always. As a goalie, I mean, I was always a big game guy. I love making that big save, but I mean, baseball, like, still high stage there, and I love the intensity that baseball can have too.
Yeah, that's awesome. Then another big decision came. You made the choice to go south and get into a year-round academy at St. Joe's. Speak to the decision to leave your long-term group, amazing friends, family, and head out of Camrose and down to Red Deer.
Yeah, leaving Camrose, definitely one of the toughest decisions of my life, and I mean, missing all my friends and family back home that I still have. And I mean, the big decision on me coming here is just that year-round academy, just training and getting to do what I love. And I mean, the big deciding factor was Coach Jason Chadwood, amazing coach, and I mean, he's helped me get better each and every day, and I love working with him and the crew that we got at St. Joe's here. But yeah, leaving Camrose, leaving the coaches, leaving family, friends, guys you all grew up playing with, and it was very tough. And I mean, I went all around saying my goodbyes, went to my coaches, said thank you for what all they've done for me over the years. And now it's a new chapter in my life, and I think it's a move I had to make.
Yeah, big for your mom too. I know that she was pretty entrenched in her career up there, and made a huge sacrifice to come down with you and talk about the impact of your parents on your young career and as it goes forward as well.
Yeah, my mom. Speaking of my mom, she's probably my biggest moral support. Like, she's always there, screaming her lungs off. She loved being around the sports, and couldn't have asked for a better mom to be around me while I'm playing sports growing up. And dad was more the guy who was hard on you, like just always on you. But I mean, like any dad would be, he's always expecting the best for his kid, and just wanted the best. And I mean, I appreciate both them and what they did for me growing up, and really enjoy it.
I do remember seeing Don give a few umpires the gears along the way too. So.
Yeah, that would be her.
Yeah, that's awesome. Speak about outside opportunities, Gab. I know COVID shut down most things, but you had a few things on the horizon. Talk about where you were thinking of heading before everything got shut down. I know you had some opportunities and how those came about.
Yeah, last summer I was supposed to go to Georgia to go play some perfect game tournaments, but I mean, no, that got shut down, and really sucked. But I mean, what can you do with all that's going on right now? And I mean, I'm hoping for another opportunity like that this year. Go play some really competitive ball down there, and would have been a great experience. But I mean, like I said, just train, work more, and then get better. And I mean, the showcase this year, when everything opened up again, PBR opened up, and that was another great experience for me to go out there and show off my talents with some other guys from around the province.
Well, for all intents and purposes, it seems that Texas, Florida, and Georgia are all about to open their doors 100%. So maybe we're not that far off from getting you back down there to compete in some of those great events for sure. Now you're into the full time year round the Braves Academy, the St. Joe's Academy. Tell us about that program because it is somewhat new. It's only been recent that they created this thing and the Dome Red Deer and everything around that. So how does that differ from what you grew up with and where you're headed with the St. Joe's program?
Yeah, so this is the third year now with the academy, and I mean, this is my second year here, and I'm saying, the improvement throughout the academy and just the development of every player and just the new things we get every year, like the cages. Like, I mean, couldn't have asked for cages all year round. Like, it's unreal having cages and having a big open gym just to play ball. And I mean, just the training facility as well, like gym have up the stairs and the cages, and you got the mounds to throw your pens and all that kind of thing. And it's great. It's great to have just at your school. I mean, you can put in extra hours at lunch after school, and I mean, just everyone around their school, they all love baseball, and it's always a great experience having those guys around you, and it makes it
Are the
even better.
coaches full time, Gav? Are they regular full time baseball guys, or they have other jobs as well?
No, they're regular
Okay,
full time
that's
guys.
awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, didn't know how deep that had gone. And speak about some of your teammates that we don't know in the Alberta world. Who's going to light up the radar and who's going to hit a few bombs for the Braves this year?
Yeah, I'd say Heath Hachkowski gonna make a big jump this summer. I mean, he's been putting in tons of work, and I've seen it throughout his training through this past year. I mean, big power bat, getting pulled down off the mound, like throws hard. Obviously big power, like not someone you want to miss. Like big 6'4", 230 frame, and he's made a lot of improvements to his game. And then another guy, catcher just like me, hardworking guy, Cal Bellick. He's the guy I want back there catching me when I'm on the mound. Like he'd be the guy that you'd want. He calls a great game, frames everything perfectly, and I'll put it all out there
Yeah.
for it.
What do you like most about catching, Gav? I know it's something that you're passionate about. I know you dabble at other positions as well. You like to go on the bump. You like to play some short, some center field as well. But I know your love is catching. What is it about that position that drives you forward?
Yeah, I love since I was younger. My dad got me into catching, and I mean, ever since he got me into it, I've loved it. I love being the quarterback on the infield and just seeing the full field. And I like being relied on from the guys, to make that big block if there's a ball in dirt or throwing out runners or making your pitcher look good. That's all I'm about. And I mean, it's unreal just being that quarterback, just letting everything know and getting just knowing whatever's going on in the field.
What about calling the game? Are you a guy that likes to study the opposing hitters and their tendencies and where you want to frame stuff? Is that something you get into as well?
Yeah, I love studying the game. I mean, I always know my competition. I always like putting shifts on guys, and some people don't like that, but I mean, it's always something I've loved doing, and just knowing about those other players really helps me as a catcher and helps me study the game more.
That's awesome. I'm sure the search for college is well underway for you, Gav. You've probably been chatting with some schools and such. And is there one place that stands out for you above all, or at least an area of America that you'd like to go to?
Honestly, no. There's no big area where I'm looking at right now. I mean, I think I'm just going to look at what fits with me and my family best, and what's going to help with my education and baseball moving forward, and what's going to give me the best opportunity to succeed.
Yeah, it's the perfect answer because you know what? In this country, we, as parents of fledgling ball players, we all think D1's the only where you can go, and it's just so untrue. If you can play baseball at the next level at any college, you've succeeded in a very big way. It's great ball being played at every level, and to get there is a huge accomplishment. So good on you for believing the best opportunity could be at any of those schools along the way. How about the national team, Gav? Is that something that sparks your interest? Have you thought about it? Have you met Greg Hamilton? Have you dabbled in some Team Canada thoughts going forward?
Yeah, definitely. It's always crossed my mind. So probably about after my P3 year, I ran into a guy named Matt Kootenay in the cages in Wetaskiwin, Alberta. He was on junior national team, and I mean, I've always looked up to that moment, and just he talked to me about his experiences, and I mean, just listening to all the great things that come out of that program. I mean, it's an experience I'd like to feel and be a part of. Wearing that Canada Cross your chest would be amazing for
Yeah,
me.
absolutely. And what about T12? That's obviously on your radar as well.
Yeah, just another great experience for me to get to, and I'd love to be there.
Absolutely. Well, my friend, the future is stupid good for you, this kid. There is no doubt. There truly never has been. Not only is he a dominant athlete with all five tools, he's always been an incredible teammate. It's the one thing I've admired most from the time I saw him as a 12-year-old right up to this day right now. He's there for his teammates. He's vocal. He's a leader. And because of that, the future is unbelievably bright. Gavin Galenza, it has been a pleasure to have you on, my friend. Thanks for stopping by, talking ball with Bekks, and have an unbelievable season, sir.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and
Okay.
you as
Thanks,
well.
Gav. Time for my favorite part of the show. It is our feature guest of the week. And as always, feature guest of the week is brought to you by Chris Hunt Online. He is the foremost expert in the recruiting world. Log on to Becksy.com, click on the coupon code, and get yourself a discount on his amazing program. Again, feature athlete of the week brought to you by Chris Hunt Online. Our athlete this week is another great one, my friends. She is also headed to Tokyo as a member of our Canadian Olympic contingent, having previously won gold with the Pan Am Games team back in 15. She was a member of Team Canada as a high schooler, believe it or not, and went on to a stellar college career with the Power 5 Pac-12 powerhouse Oregon Ducks. As a junior, all she did was go 17-2. With an unbelievable 1.80 ERA in 132 innings. She's a member of the prestigious professional organization Athletes Unlimited. She is currently a coach at Ivy League West, Stanford University. And to top it all off, just for fun, she is the National Director of Softball Pitching with Area Scouts. It is my great pleasure that I welcome to the show the amazing Karissa Hovinga.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. That was quite the introduction.
Absolutely. It's amazing to have you on in what must be an incredibly busy time in your life. What's going on with Karissa right now?
Yeah, so you had mentioned that I was the helping coach with the Stanford softball team, and actually I helped coach in 2018, and then in 2019 I had helped coach through the fall, and then early part of 2020, myself and the team centralized in Halifax for 8 weeks, and so I was up there, and so I had terminated my position with the Stanford team just because at that point what we thought we were going forward we was going to be all softball all the time with the Olympics coming up in 2020, and but obviously everything had shut down. But moving forward for this year, I had wanted to just solely focus on training with this extra year. So I am actually no longer with the Stanford softball team, but I was with them the 2 seasons prior. Great experience, but I am still living down here in Palo Alto, beautiful part of the United States, and my fiance is the director of operations for the program, and so that's where we live, and it's a great place to live. It's expensive, but the weather's beautiful, and you get what you pay for.
That's amazing. Let's get the elephant out of the room. It's the easy conversation right now, having gone through what we've all gone through over the last year. Talk a little bit about how COVID has impacted you individually, and also with regards to the team and the on-again, off-again roller coaster that has been the Olympics. And they're on, they're off. You prepare your whole life for such an incredible honor, and just talk a little bit about how COVID's affected you.
So on a personal level, I am very fortunate enough to not have been significantly impacted personally from a health standpoint, nor do I know very many people who have been impacted significantly. But But as far as with the training, yeah, I mean that was just a huge and a like upsetting thing that happened, and some of the other players on the team were obviously had a lot more influence because they have families and things like that, and a lot of them are quite a bit older than me, and so I think that really kind of discouraged them. I think a lot of them had contemplated even returning and coming back, but I mean, thank God all of our teammates are coming back and returning, and we're going to do our best to get the best team out on the field in Tokyo. Yeah, it was just a huge and major disappointment just to like fathom and wrap your head around going through the entire training process for an entire year. But as I said, I don't have kids. Like I'm not married yet. I think its impact on me was maybe a little bit less than some of the other girls on my team who have families and who are getting quite a bit or are going to be an entire year older.
Yeah, it's amazing how you had to balance kind of the desire to protect versus the desire to achieve your dreams, and I couldn't imagine what that was like for elite athletes, in any sport that is going to take part in the Olympic Games, because for sure we wanted to make sure everybody was safe, but at the end of the day, you train your whole life for the opportunity to represent your country. So speaking of representing your country, I know you're a dual citizen, and at some point you had to make a decision that you were going to represent one country or the other. How did you come to that decision, and sort of what were the repercussions with your American friends going to represent Canada?
Yeah, I mean, all my American friends definitely they give me a hard time. Way back when I initially had started playing with Team Canada, and still get crap nowadays, even now and then. But yeah, so it all kind of started with Lori Sipple, who is the head coach or one of the assistants at Nebraska, which is where I'm from originally. I was born in Nebraska. My mom was born in Edmonton, Alberta, born and raised there, and met my dad, and then moved to the United States. So that's how I have that dual citizenship. But yes, through Lori Sipple, who coaches at Nebraska now as an assistant and was previously the head coach of the Canadian national team, had found out about my dual citizenship, and so that's kind of how I got involved with the Canadian program. She had kind of heard through the grapevine that I had a mother who was Canadian, and kind of sought me out in high school, and so I was fortunate enough to be able to play on that junior team for a while, and then eventually move up to the senior team, and have been kind of a part of the entire program ever since I was a junior in high school in 2009, and just super fortunate and grateful for all of the opportunities, all the places that I've been able to travel, and yeah, it's been a wild ride, and I've been fortunate enough to play softball past college, and all these other doors have opened up for me, and all these other opportunities, and I like to thank Lori Sipple for honestly the entire thing. Like it's just kind of unbelievable how knowing one person can open up all these different doors and different opportunities.
Well, that's fantastic, and we're certainly happy to have you as we head over and search for gold. Is there extra incentive when you take on the red, white, and blue?
Yeah, there certainly is. I mean, they're the best of the best in the United States, and like them and all the teams. Honestly, it's just gonna be a great Olympics, and I actually do have a former Oregon teammate who is on the Oregon teammate and former roommate. We were roommates for 3 years at Oregon, and she's on the United States national team, and so it's always just kind of fun to compete against her. And she was also a part of Athletes Unlimited, where I got to compete against her, and then also play on the same team as her as well, doing that. So yeah, it's a fun time to be able to have those connections from different countries and different universities and things like that. So
that's going to be a fun time. It'll be different, as for sure, and I'm not even sure how the Athletes Village is going to look like as compared to past, or even the opening ceremonies, the flag ceremonies, all the different things. But guess what? You'll be on the field, and at the end of the day, that's truly what matters, is the sport competition. So it's going to be a really, really cool thing. Yeah. So yeah, the roots go way back. I understand you started the game very young and followed in the footsteps of your older sister that went to Creighton. Um, Talk a little bit about the impact of having a sibling to follow, the competitive nature that may have existed, and what it's like to have to follow in the footsteps of someone that's clearly done a very good job and played at the next level. What's that like for you?
Yeah, so growing up, my sister is 3 years older than me. So in high school, I was in grade 9 when she was in grade 12. But just growing up when she had started to pitch, I would go to her pitching lessons with her, and she would get lessons from this woman who was currently at the time playing at Creighton. And I would just kind of sit on the sidelines and watch her. And the woman's dad would also come to the lesson, and he would be like, "Hey, like, do you want to throw the ball around? Do you want to pitch a little bit?" And I was always just kind of shy in like third grade, saying, "Oh no, like I'm okay. I don't want to throw. I don't want to pitch." And then finally one day I was like, "Okay, yeah, like I'll just try it, whatever." And so I would tag along to her lessons with her, and she would throw with the woman who was attending Creighton, and I would throw with her dad. And then I just all of a sudden I was like, "Oh, this is pretty fun. I'm okay at it, whatever." Just trying to get involved and follow along in my sister's footsteps, like you said. And fortunately, I was not blessed with the left-handed gene. My sister was, but so that's the kind of only downfall with that. But um, it was uh, it was fun growing up and trying to always kind of compete with her. She was always like really really good, and after she got recruited at Creighton, I knew that that was the direction I wanted to go, was to play Division 1 softball as well. And yeah, just a fun time
It's
growing
a
up with an older sibling who you're competing against all the time.
That's a great story. And do you know the guy's name that got you off the bench and got you throwing? Because
Yep,
eventually that kind of led to
yep,
something, and it'd be cool if
yeah. It
you
was
you do know him still.
Jenny and Frank Hunt. So I can always attribute my start in pitching to them. They were great people, still are
Oh,
great people.
that's amazing. When did you know, Karissa, that softball was going to be a big part of your life? When was there a light bulb that went off and said, "Listen, this is what I want to do"? Do you remember when that happened?
Oh, um, I think probably I had been involved in quite a few sports growing up. Even my grade 9 year, I was playing softball and basketball, and I did track in the spring. But I think I really started to see like a turn in how I was competing against some of these. I was always like playing up on a age level or a grade level. And so once I started to see our younger team starting to beat up on some of these older teams, girls who were much older than us. I was in grade 8. These girls were in high school. We were beating them, and once I kind of saw that start to turn and beating up on all of these older kids, and then it got really fun, and I saw that I was good at it and getting better and better at it. And so I would say right around that early high school age was when I knew I wanted to kind of just commit to softball, and thought it was going to be something that was going to be a part of my life for a really long time. And I stopped playing some of the other sports. A little bit of regret with that, because I always think competing all year round and playing other sports enhances one's athletic ability. So a little bit of regret with that, but pitching just takes up so much of your time, especially if you want to get to a certain level. It's just a big time commitment. So that's kind of what I dedicated my time, and my parents dedicated their resources to that. It was an investment for them, and it all worked out.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, part of the process and part of the program that I'm running up here is getting girls noticed down south of the border. Many wouldn't have the experience of kind of what you went through, and the recruiting process and ending up at a Power Five school. Can you just give us a little insight as to what the recruiting process for such an amazing program looks like when you're on the precipice of heading off to a scholarship at one of those schools?
Yeah, so going back to honestly Lori Sipple, in my exposure through the Canadian team honestly. So I had started to play with the junior national team when I was a junior in high school, and um, it like I think with the ties of Danielle Laurie and Washington, Washington always was kind of recruiting Canadians, and so I think maybe they were looking at some of the junior national team players like myself, Jocelyn Cater, Maddie Schreier. I think kind of through the grapevine of the Pac-12 was how Oregon heard about me. Like Washington's recruiting all these Canadians. Oh, maybe this is something that we should start to look at. And so that's kind of how I got to Oregon, was I think through Washington maybe starting to recruit, or Washington having that history of recruiting Canadians. And then I think it just kind of trickled down. Um, but again, bringing it back to Lori Sipple, she's the whole entire reason I was on the junior national team to begin with. So I attribute myself getting noticed by these Pac-12 schools to her. And Nebraska was honestly a close second. That was probably my other top school that I was looking at if I hadn't chosen Oregon.
Yeah, well, you picked a good one, that's for sure. Speak to the D1 experience a little bit, and how incredible that must have been to play at that level, to go to the College World Series, to pitch in the College World Series and pitch well. Just speak to the entire experience of what D1 life is like at the U.S. college level.
Yeah, it's definitely a really tough transition from going to high school and being really, really successful in high school, and then you kind of branch out a little bit. And I honestly, when I first got there, I really thought I was in over my head. Like I had never played with girls like the other women around me. My travel ball team didn't really travel to the West Coast and play a bunch of California teams, and so I hadn't really been exposed to that high of a level really growing up, and it was definitely a tough transition. Freshman year was pretty hard, but once I started to see success and that I could do it, it became a lot easier mentally to handle and take on. But yeah, it's when you're growing up and you're a big fish in a small pond, and you just kind of like get blindsided once you really try to see what real softball is all about at that level.
No, that's cool. At some point, you decided that coaching was something you wanted to do. Can you remember sort of what led to that, and how you decided that, and how in the world someone from the Ducks could end up with the Cardinal? Because, good Lord, that's about as close a rival as you could imagine.
Yeah. So after I graduated from Oregon, I got my master's at the University of Minnesota. And I was a graduate manager for the team, for the Gopher softball team, while Sarah Gronewagen was there actually. And so just kind of on the side, I would give lessons just to get a little bit more money. I'm a grad student. I need a little bit of extra cash, and so I would give some young girls in the area some lessons. And I decided I really, really liked it, and something I really like to do is try to help young kids get better and grow the game of softball. And so yeah, that's kind of when I really started to dive into lessons, and I still am giving lessons now, and it's something I want to continue to do.
You feel like the college coaching route is still something you want to explore as well?
I'm not entirely sure yet. I don't know if it's something I need to full on like try. I was a volunteer assistant, yes, but that doesn't include the recruiting every single weekend, off season recruiting. Like when you're in season, you're gone almost every weekend, or you're busy every weekend. So I don't know if it's something I need to try before I can rule it out. So I haven't ruled it out yet. But it's definitely it's a tough lifestyle, and it's something you really got to be all in on and totally dedicated to. So undecided yet.
Yeah. One of the things I've noticed in conversations with former players that played at the highest levels as you have, it's very difficult to leave the camaraderie that goes along with team sports. And I mean, you still have it obviously with the national team, but once the playing career is over, then the natural step is to coach, just to continue to have that team love, that family that goes along with being part of such a great team sport like that. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes for you. One of the ways that you can keep playing, obviously, is something I touched on with Joey Lai in my previous interview. She spoke so highly of Athletes Unlimited, and we didn't get into a lot of detail about sort of what goes on and how it came about and what Athletes Unlimited truly is. So can you fill us in and let us know, first of all, the impact it has, and how'd you get involved, and basically what it's all about, Athletes Unlimited.
So Athletes Unlimited was started by these two gentlemen, John and Jonathan, and they have this idea that professional sports fans, they like to follow certain players. So if a certain player gets traded to a different team, a lot of the times, many times you see fans start to switch the team that they like because of our particular player. And so their thoughts were that there's kind of like a gap in the sports market of this idea. And so their entire thing is to have like a draft every single week, where different teams are drafted, um, and so therefore a fan can kind of follow these different players, um, just like differently than like how it is in the current sports world. I guess they kind of see just like a there's like a shift going on in how fans follow sports, and so that was their kind of idea behind it, is for fans to be able to follow a leaderboard and follow a particular athlete rather than a team. And so that's kind of the thought behind changing teams every week and being able to follow like a few of your favorite particular athletes. And so they have a softball league. Right now the volleyball league is going on, and they were going to be starting lacrosse in the summer. As far as I know, those are the only three sports right now, but I do think they want to break into other women's sports, and then ultimately maybe even men's sports as well. Just trying to follow a different model of how fans consume their sports.
Yeah, it really sounds amazing. I wish we had some television coverage up in Canada, because it's so undercovered in our country, and every time I get to go across the line, if it's during softball season, ESPN's so great at covering the big schools and the programs, and man, it's such an exciting game to watch. I wish that somehow we'd get some coverage up here in Canada, but maybe we can keep pushing forward with the Athletes Unlimited, and then potentially get some television coverage of it going forward. Through the program, you've obviously met some incredible women, just amazing people. Joey had nothing but amazing things to say about it. Monday is International Women's Day. Can you share with us, beyond the one that you've mentioned a few times already, as to who your influencers are in the world of power women out there in softball and beyond softball?
Oh, wow. Yeah, I mean, as I had mentioned, the entire reason that I had gotten involved was my sister. So, first and foremost, my sister, and obviously my mom. She also played softball in Canada growing up. And then, honestly, this sounds so cliche, but the girls I play with are so inspirational. There's two of them who are mothers. I don't know how they do it, train full time, have time away from their families. Um, and then just my teammates in general are such an inspiration, and they're just such amazing people. And it's going to be so devastating, honestly, when this entire journey is over with, because they're just great women to be around, and they put a smile on my face, and they're just so supportive. We all support one another, and it's kind of amazing the camaraderie that we have. As you had spoken to previously, that is definitely something I'm going to miss.
Yeah, it appears that this Canadian team has been together for a long time.
Hmm.
As I read the bios, it's this person started in '09 and 10 and 11. And,
Yep.
for all of you, it's been just an amazing journey and quite a
Hmm.
long journey as far as a high level athletic team goes. It's amazing to see.
And there's been quite a few of us who have actually gone through the junior program and have worked our way up to the senior program. So there's a handful of us who had played together and known each other since we were in high school. So that's kind of amazing too. We've just kind of grown up together.
Hmm. Yeah, no, that's awesome. And man, I sure hope it goes well for you guys over there because it's been a successful team. It's a very talented team, veteran team, obviously,
Hmm.
and there's obviously other great teams in the world, and fingers crossed that it's going to go very well from a Canadian perspective. One last thing I'd love to touch on, and hopefully we'll get into this in great detail, and that is something that's very important to both of us, and that's the Area Scouts platform.
Hmm.
How did you get involved? How did Lance get in touch with you? And sort of where do you see the evolution of this program? We're just launching it up in this part of the world, but I know it's going absolutely viral down south. So uh, fill your boots. Talk about Area Scouts.
So yeah, I had found out about it through Joey Lai. While we were at Area Scouts, while we were at Athletes Unlimited, while we were at Athletes Unlimited, um, we would go on these. We were in kind of a bubble, obviously, with COVID going on at Athletes Unlimited, and so Joey and I would go on these walks at a nearby park, just to get some fresh air. That was kind of one of the few things that we could do. And she had asked me, "Have you heard of Area Scouts?" And I said, "No, I don't. I've never heard of that. What is that?" She's like, "Oh well, I just signed a contract with them. I think they're hiring." A national director of pitching, if you are interested. And she kind of explained to me what they are and what they do. And I said, yeah, I would love to just hear more about it and be able to talk to Lance and just kind of get some more information. And I'm super interested. And so she connected us, and we had talked over Zoom, and I was on board as not only after Joey had described it to me, but after I had spoken with Lance. And I just love the idea, and I love the ability to be able to reach athletes from not only around the United States, but eventually it's going to grow bigger and bigger. And just the ability to impact young athletes from a distance, especially now, I feel like that's kind of the way the world is eventually is moving towards. So I'm super excited to be a part of it, and super excited for softball to really take off here soon.
Yeah, what does your role look like, Karissa? When you mentioned teaching from afar and helping young kids, what does the platform look like from the national director of pitching's standpoint?
So the national director of pitching creates a curriculum for more local evaluators to follow. So I've been creating these modules, or these courses, if you will, for evaluators who are located all around the United States. They follow these modules, and they have to become certified in whatever area they're interested in coaching, whether it's pitching, hitting, fielding, whatever they're interested in coaching, or all of the above. They have to take our courses. Um, and once they're certified, they can help their athletes. And then not only that, they can come back to me, and I can help them help their athletes as well. So that's what I'm super excited for, to just be able to reach different athletes all around the world and help them elevate their game.
Yeah, it is unique in every way. The thing that interests me most is every kid has their own set of goals and benchmarks that they're going after, and it's not just one grand uh, program for everybody. Everybody's got their own speed, their own goals, their own end game, and it's just a fantastic program and affordable beyond
Yeah,
all else, and focused on injury prevention, which I think we both would agree is sorely needed in the industry for sure. Each
absolutely.
of us growing up as athletes, I think we're pushed to a level that maybe we were uncomfortable with, and probably shouldn't have continued to throw, hit, run at different times in our history. But that's changing, and Area Scouts is a big part of that, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And you touched on it so well. I'm just so glad that this is going to be so accessible for so many people, because um, getting high level and knowledgeable coaching can be expensive. And so I'm so excited to just be able to um, reach athletes who might not be able to get quote unquote the best of the best coaching. I feel like I'm going to do a great job and be a great mentor and coach. And I'm just so excited that it's going to be so accessible for so many athletes around the United States and beyond.
Yes, absolutely. We will wrap up with one important question, Karissa. What does post-Olympics and most importantly, post-COVID look like in the world of Karissa Hovinga?
Oh, wow. Well, I'm supposed to be getting married in September. So that's exciting.
Well, that's a big thing.
Yeah, that's kind of the big thing that's on my plate post Olympics, and we'll see if it's post COVID. It's honestly that's our plan right now, but everything's always up in the air and has potential to change. But that's first and foremost. Right after the summer gets over, is I'm supposed to be getting married, and then after that, who knows? I'm hoping that Area Scouts is growing and growing, and that I can just get more and more involved in it, even potentially as an evaluator as well as the director. And so I'm really excited to see where it takes off to, and I will really am interested in diving headfirst into that after the summer's over.
Well, with news of the pending nuptials and Olympics on the horizon, there are just so many things to wish you great luck with. Karissa, it has been a pleasure speaking with you, meeting you. I wish you the absolute best of luck this year, representing our country and for that matter, your own country as you head over and compete at the Olympic Games. And with your wedding and everything, Area Scouts, it's just a lot on your plate and exciting times, I'm sure. So thank you so much for coming by. It's been a pleasure. Thank you, Karissa.
Thank you, and thank you so much for having me.
Well, that puts a tidy little bow on episode number 2. If you are still with us and made it through, I appreciate you sticking around and checking out the show. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe to the channel and help me help kids realize dreams at Bekksy.com and Next from the North. Tune in next week, same time, same channel, as we welcome 3 unbelievable guests to the show. I'm going to save it for the trailer on Wednesday. Again, thanks a lot for stopping by. You're talking ball with Bekks from Gap to Gap and Coast to Coast. We'll see you next week.